Hello, welcome to another episode of Who's Got It? It's your favorite hosts, Marv Albert and Mark Jackson. Today we're looking at a very interesting subject, fashion influence on millennials. This isn't just your average underdog story. We're putting the average person against your mega celebs.
It's BUSi versus Kylie Jenner, Don Benjamin versus Kanye West, and much, much more. So we went out deep into the concrete jungle and asked the fashion savvy where they get their influence. Because what better place to look than Carleton University, an environment filled with fashion-hungry millennials. To start, we're gonna take a look at who has a greater influence when it comes to fashion influence on millennials.
Personally, I think celebrities win. No question. I mean, look at them. They're flawless. They represent your aspirational reference group. Even though you don't know them, you still admire them. I mean, let's be honest. Whose autograph would you rather have? Kylie Jenner or BUSi?
You know, Marv, I would agree with you. However, Solomon, White, and Dow would say otherwise.
Interesting.
They argue that small, informal reference groups exert a more powerful influence on individual consumers. For example, they would say that your family or your friends influence the consumption choices you make over celebrities, and that these social media influencers would fit in the category of informal reference groups because they feel like more of a friend than those celebrities that almost feel untouchable. In fact, if you're so confident in your celebrities, let's bet that nice watch of yours. I'm willing to bet that social media influencers have a lot more of an influence on millennials when it comes to fashion.
Oh, it's on. That's a bet. I guess we'll just have to find out. But first, let's figure out why these millennials buy clothes. Is there a certain need or desire why they need to buy clothes? Let's have a look.
Is there a certain desire as to why you feel the need to buy clothes?
Most of the time it's because I need it for like work or a certain occasion. It's usually not like spur of the moment kind of decision.
Well, I usually try and keep up with the trends, so as soon as something new is coming out, I like to be on top of that. I have a fashion blog, so I usually update that. So I think that's a big reason why I'm constantly like trying to buy new clothes and new items.
Right.
I don't know. I want to look good when I go out, for sure.
I don't really buy clothes. I get a lot of them given to me.
Because I want to look fresh?
No, it's just I didn't have any money before.
Definitely. I think everybody has some sort of pressure to, upkeep and look good.
For me, it's mostly, you know how they say like, you're always changing?
Yeah.
So sometimes I start liking something else or I like to dress differently. Or,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's more about that.
So as we can see, Marv, we have a very important concept coming into play here. Impression management, which can be defined as working hard to manage what others think of us. In other words, we're choosing clothing and products that will represent us to others in a good light. Without even knowing it, these millennials are partaking in impression management, although they are fully aware that they have to upkeep a certain image of themselves.
Right, but let's dive deeper. I think public self-consciousness might be at play here, whether they want to admit it or not.
Remind me what that is again?
Well, according to the scale of public self-consciousness explained by Solomon, White, and Dow, people who score higher on the scale are more interested in buying clothes and tend to be heavier users of cosmetics. Let's have a look.
On a scale from low, medium to high, how many clothes would you say that you own?
I would say medium.
Hi.
High.
High.
Yeah, medium high.
Hi.
High?
High.
Hi.
Medium.
Probably like medium high.
All right.
Somewhere between medium and high.
I'm gonna say it's a medium high.
Eureka! Looks like for the most part, most of these people score high on the scale of public self-consciousness.
Okay, so now that we know the basics, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's see how most of these people get most of their information about fashion. They're obviously looking at A-list celebrities on TVs and magazines.
I don't know about that. I bet that most millennials gather most of their information on fashion from social media influencers on platforms such as Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, etc.
Well, we're gonna have to find out, Mark. Roll the clip.
When you do look for fashion items and things that you want to buy, where do you go for this information?
I'll usually check out the website of the stores I usually go to, or look at Instagram or Pinterest and just look around.
I usually just look on other fashion blogs and Instagram mostly.
I would probably say Instagram, to be honest with you.
Instagram.
You do Instagram?
Yeah.
Definitely social media accounts.
Social media?
Yeah.
Social media a lot of times. Instagram, probably be the main one. Snapchat a little bit, but not like I'm intentionally looking for it. I would just kind of see things on Snapchat.
On YouTube, pretty much.
Definitely like Instagram is probably, I'd say, the biggest one for people our age in terms for fashion. I think fashion information is everywhere, and music videos, on television, in all sorts of media, social media, and even just in like real life situations when you're in school.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I get it from everywhere, really.
No fashion trends drive me. It's more of like what I feel like wearing.
Okay.
Marv, man, I'm sorry. Looks like we've got a clear winner here. Social media seems to be the main source for millennials when it comes to where they get their fashion information.
Okay, Mark. I think you might have won this round. But what the people really want to know is who actually drives these people's fashion decisions.
You know, you're right, Marv. We should probably look at who really drives these people. Let's check it out.
Are there any certain role models or influencers that kind of drive what you're picking out?
Someone whose style I really like is Kate Middleton. So I go for like a lot of looks that like she would go for.
Cool.
Other than that, it's kind of just like what I like.
Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, supermodels.
Not anybody particular. I wouldn't say really celebrities for me, just because I do dress differently. But there's like a lot of like girls that are kind of my age that I have found through different like photographers and just like popping up on the discovery thing on Instagram that I follow. They just live cool lives and like have awesome clothes, and I'll definitely kind of pull what I like from them.
Like I watch a lot of YouTube vloggers and bloggers, so I mean I guess I could get influenced by that. If I see an account and the person looks good, just hit the follow button and go next person.
I think say Kanye West, Chris Brown, Ian Connor. More or less like the regular influencer. He used to work at Urban Outfitters, so that has a hand in it. A lot of like stuff you see online. I go on like Pinterest and Pinterest, Instagram a lot.
Couldn't like pinpoint specific people because I don't think it's something like I consciously think about. Just general fashion that you see when you're scrolling through your timeline and stuff like that you pick up on and you like certain things, but I couldn't say like, oh, it was that guy that was wearing that specific thing that made me decide I wanted to wear something like that.
There are definitely a lot of people who I'd say I take from. I'd say like definitely like Kanye West is probably like a big one right now for celebrity wise. Okay. But if we're talking, I find there are a lot of people who are in the middle who are just on their way to becoming a big celebrity, but are pretty much famous on like Instagram and stuff like that.
There's no like inspiration or someone I look up to in terms of like my fashion sense or whatnot. Sometimes, yeah, I do look at Instagram pages or Facebook pages just to get cool outfit ideas, but they're not celebrities.
No,
yeah,
they're just a social media famous.
Yeah.
Would you say that it's a mix between the celebrity spokespeople as well as regular influencers?
I think I first look at, the major trends through celebrities, but then kind of get the knockoff versions or look at, other ways that you can get that look without having to pay so much.
Generally just like a 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah, it's just anybody who I see. Anybody who has something that I think would look good, I just follow it.
Maybe like 70-30 average person to celebrity?
Definitely day-to-day people.
I would say the day-to-day people have a bigger influence on you, only because once you see day-to-day people kind of wearing it, you know that like, hey, this is a thing now. Whereas if a celebrity's wearing it, it's a little more exclusive almost. It's like less relatable in a way.
Okay. We can see that these social media influencers have quite a bit of influence on these millennials. But why do they have so much? It seems like these social media influencers are more relatable. They possess value because their fashion sense is perhaps more realistic and more affordable to these millennials than your A-list celebrities we see on television and magazines. But is that really it? There must be more that places the social media influencers above A-list celebrities, no?
Well, Marv, I think it ties in with the theory of the informal reference group. I feel like these people can almost relate more with these social media influencers. It's almost as if they're on an equal playing field, so it would make sense why their opinions and the way they act rubs off more on these millennials, but that's just me. I guess we'll have to find out. Let's have a look.
So why is it that you look up to Kate Middleton?
I kind of have the same like body type as her, and since I'm taller, it's kind of hard to like look for clothes sometimes, so I kind of look at celebrities like Blake Lively as well, just people who can like dress for that body type. Yeah.
Usually I would just go for celebrities that have the same taste as I do.
Honestly, no personal connection, just definitely the clothes.
Just like the clothes?
Yeah.
I think it's probably just more of a material thing. That's what they're wearing.
Just what they're wearing.
I look up to them because I want to be them. Or be on their same level.
Because like certain fashion is like really different. It's not part of the norm, right? When you're a celebrity, it's looks a little just like higher end, and like if you're wearing that, you're a little maybe reflecting more success in your life.
This is an interesting turn of events. It seems it's not so much the celebrity that carries the influence, not even your informal reference group. It's the aura they carry with their image. These millennials think, oh, they look good in that. I want to look good in that too.
Yeah, this really ties into the idea of self-consciousness, and we can see that the idea of impression management comes back again. When looking at it from a different perspective, it's not really the connection that they feel with these influencers. However, they see that these influencers are recognized and looked at and want the same for themselves. It's really about how they want themselves to be viewed.
That is very interesting, but I wouldn't jump to conclusions. I think we still have opinion leadership, and more specifically, fashion opinion leadership at play here. These millennials admire these social media influencers because they hold referent power. They're admired by these millennials, and because of this, these millennials try to imitate their behavior. For example, by the clothes they wear.
So you're saying that these individuals think of themselves similar to the people that they look up to. Let's see.
Would you consider these people that you look up to similar to yourself?
The people that I look up to are people that I want to be like, and I don't necessarily see myself as being like them right now, but maybe just wanting to, you know, grow and become more like them.
Yes and no. Definitely there, you know, I wouldn't buy something that I didn't like and that I didn't like on me just because someone was wearing it, but I think that I follow them like because I think that their lives are cool, and then I'm exposed to the clothes, and that in turn like indirectly
Creates that little relationship.
Yeah, I like to think they're similar to me. I feel like the taste you have in fashion says a lot about a person.
I feel like they're pretty similar to me. We do the same stuff.
Yeah, so if we're not talking about celebrities and we're only talking about like social, like, you know, people who are big on social media, I'd say there's definitely more of a relatability between them, because anybody can get big on Instagram or social media these days. Do you know what I mean? So if you're like an artist, it's a little harder to become like a Beyonce or like Ed Sheeran or something like that. But if you're like big on social media in terms of like Instagram, I think that's attainable these days.
Well, Mark, it looks like it isn't always the case. This aspirational reference group represented by A-list celebrities still holds considerable influence among the millennials. This is why marketing efforts that specifically adopt the reference group strategy favor widely admired and well-known people like athletes and celebrities. They link these people to brands and products so that the products they're attached to have an aspirational quality to them. You know, one study of business students who aspired to the executive role found a strong relationship between the products they associated with their ideal selves and those they assumed real executives own.
That's one way to look at it. As opposed to these celebrities, which are tied more closely to the aspirational reference group, these social media influencers seem to be more closely represented by the membership reference group, which consists of people they actually know, or at least the group of people that these individuals feel like they actually know. They're a step closer than these unattainable celebrities. This could be the reason why these individuals feel similar to these social media influencers. And because of this, these social media influencers are increasingly resonating with millennials in terms of fashion choices, as they're really just opinion leaders. Remember how we talked about opinion leadership earlier? Opinion leaders are everyday consumers and are not formally included in marketing efforts. Because of this, they can use word-of-mouth marketing to generate buzz instead of hype, which effectively creates more of a natural ripple effect on consumers and ultimately yields a greater influence on millennials' purchasing habits.
Well, Mark, now that social media is blurring the lines between those we know and those we friend, I think we can say it doesn't really matter who's influencing these millennials. It doesn't matter if they're a social media influencer or an A-list celebrity. What really matters is whatever or whoever can give these millennials a leg up in their social circle. It all stems from self-awareness, self-consciousness, and most importantly, impression management.
Right, but a bet's a bet, man. I think you owe me a watch. I've got a social circle to impress.
Yeah, alright. Here's the watch. I wanted to get the new ones I saw on Kanye anyways. But Mark, I think it's interesting to see how our findings compared to what we actually initially hypothesized. It's crazy to think.
It really is crazy. So, to end today's episode, if you had to choose one theory that best describes what influences millennials' fashion choices, would you say that Irving Goffman's theory of impression management is the go-to?
Of course, Goffman is. He uses the metaphor of theater to analyze social life, comparing members of society to actors playing roles on stage. As a result, the quality of our performance is essential to a sense of self. And every time we engage in interaction, we put ourselves on the line. This is why we constantly try to shape how people perceive us and what kind of impression we make on the audience. In the case of millennials and their fashion choices, their audience is their friends, their peers, and the general public, or that cute guy or girl they're trying to notice them. Millennials are influenced by social media influencers and A-list celebrities because of the favorable influence they observe these people receiving from their audience. They want the same favorable impression within their social circles as well, so they emulate characteristics of these social media influences and celebrities that resonates with their social circle. through fashion. On the flip side, the consequence of a performance that lacks quality amongst an individual's friends or peer groups could lead to that individual having less influence within that group, or even worse, embarrassment. No one wants that. In order to avoid this unfavorable outcome, these millennials engage in this intricate performance of impression management that will put them in a good light by following these A-list celebrities and social media influencers that resonate within their social circle.
You know what? It all makes sense now.
Interesting indeed.
Anyways, folks, that just about wraps it up for this week's episode of Who's Got It? Tune in next week to find out about trends versus fads. I'm your host, Mark Jackson.
And I'm Marv Albert, and we will see you next week on Who's Got It?